Hello everyone, and welcome back to Royal Coin Value, my YouTube channel. If you love rare coins, when you hold a coin in your hand, you are holding a piece of history, culture, and design. Every mark and every portrait has a story to tell. And the 1995 Australian $2 coin is no different. It may look like an ordinary piece of change, but for collectors it represents much more. It represents a connection to Queen Elizabeth II's long reign, a symbolic representation of Australia's indigenous heritage, and a fascinating story of how a simple coin can spark interest, debate, and sometimes even excitement in the coin collecting world. The $2 coin itself was first introduced in 1988, replacing the old $2 banknote. At that time, Australia wanted a more durable, long-lasting replacement for paper money, and coins were the answer. The $2 coin was struck in aluminium bronze, which gives it that distinctive golden color, even though the coin is not actually made of gold. Measuring just over 20 millimeters in diameter, it was smaller than many expected for a higher denomination, but it was practical and cost-efficient. The design has remained consistent since its first year of issue. On one side, the obverse, you see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who was Australia's monarch for 70 years. In 1995, the obverse design showed the Raphael Makhlouf portrait, which was used from 1985 through 1998. This design depicts the Queen wearing the royal diadem, with elegant detailing in her hair and crown. For collectors, the portrait itself can even be a way to quickly date the coin, since different portraits were used in different eras. Turning to the reverse, we see one of Australia's most iconic coin designs, the Aboriginal elders, accompanied by the Southern Cross constellation and a native grass tree, has been the standard motif for decades. This design was created by Horst Hahn, and it is important to note that the elder shown is not meant to represent any one specific individual, but rather an archetype, a symbolic representation of Australia's indigenous people. The stars of the Southern Cross connect the coin to the Australian flag, and the grass tree reminds us of the country's native flora. Together, it has a thoughtful and uniquely Australian design. So why do collectors pay attention to the 1995 issue in particular? Well, millions were minted that year, and unlike some low mintage or commemorative issues, the 1995 coin is considered a common circulation coin. That means it is not rare in terms of how many exist, but condition and grade make all the difference when it comes to value. And this is where the term very fine, or VF, enters the picture. In coin collecting, grading is one of the most important concepts. Coins are graded on a scale that runs from heavily worn pieces at the low end, often called good, to perfectly preserved uncirculated or mint-state coins at the top. Very fine sits in the middle. A coin in very fine condition shows clear signs of wear from circulation, but still retains strong detail. If you examine a 1995 $2 coin in very fine condition, you'll notice the portrait of the Queen is still clearly defined, but some of the finer details in her hair and crown may be softened. On the reverse, the Aboriginal elder's facial features remain visible, though again with some wear, and the stars of the Southern Cross can still be seen without difficulty. The overall coin will look used, but not abused. It's the kind of coin that has circulated for years but still has character. Now to the question everyone asks: how much is it worth today? If you're holding a 1995 Australian $2 coin in very fine condition, don't expect to retire on it, but it's still worth more than its face value to collectors. In today's market, these coins usually sell for around 2 to 12 Australian dollars, depending on how appealing the individual piece is and how it is offered. Converted into US currency, that means you are looking at a value range of about $2 to $10, with the most common sales falling between $4 and $8. This is the realistic market price right now, based on collector demand, recent sales, and the overall availability of the coins. That said, context is everything. If you find a 1995 $2 coin in uncirculated condition, meaning it looks almost exactly as it did the day it left the mint, then the value jumps higher. Those can bring 15, 20, or even $30 depending on the buyer. And if the coin comes from an official mint set, packaged by the Royal Australian Mint, then collectors are willing to pay a premium for the pristine condition. On the other end of the spectrum, if the coin is heavily worn, scratched, or damaged, then its value drops back down closer to face value. That's the reality of coin collecting. Condition is king. For a very fine example, though, you are right in that middle range, where the coin is clearly collectible but not excessively rare. But collectors also watch for something else: errors and varieties. While the standard 1995 issue is common, error coins, such as those struck off-center, with double strikes, or with other unusual features, can be worth significantly more. Some error coins in the $2 series have sold for hundreds of dollars when authenticated. And although colored $2 coins did not begin appearing until 2012, it's worth noting that collectors sometimes confuse different special issues. So always double-check the year and the design details. Another important point is the rise of counterfeit $2 coins. In recent years, news reports and collectors have identified fake $2 pieces circulating in Australia. These often have darker tones, unusual weights, or fuzzy details. A genuine coin should have clear lettering, sharp edges, and a consistent golden aluminium bronze color. If your coin looks suspiciously dark or feels odd in the hand, it's best to compare it with a trusted example or consult a dealer. While most 1995 coins are perfectly genuine, it's always smart to be cautious, especially if you're rebuying online. If you decide to sell your 1995 $2 coin, presentation is important. Clear photographs showing both sides of the coin will help attract serious buyers. Mention the grade, very fine in this case, and describe any marks, scratches, or tonings. Honesty is always the best policy in coin collecting, and buyers will appreciate an accurate description. Platforms like eBay or dedicated coin auction sites are good places to list. But remember that with coins in the lower value range, shipping costs and fees can sometimes outweigh profits. That's why many sellers group together multiple coins to make the sale more worthwhile. So what's the takeaway? The 1995 Australian $2 coin is a fascinating piece of everyday history. It is common, yes, but it still carries collectible interest. In very fine condition, expect it to sell for 2 to 10 US dollars, most often around 4 to 8. If you happen to have an uncirculated example, or a verified errors, the value can be higher. And while it may not be the rarest or most valuable coin out there, it tells the story of Australia in the 1990s, a story of a nation still using coins featuring Queen Elizabeth, a story of a design that honors Indigenous heritage, and a story of a denomination that has become a backbone of everyday transactions. And perhaps the most important thing is this: even coins that are considered common can open the door to the world of numismatics. For many collectors, the humble $2 coin is where their journey begins. So the next time you come across a 1995 $2, don't just see it as small change. See it as a little piece of art, history, and value that connects you to Australia's past.